Hey, how's it going, everybody? How's it going? Hope everything's been going good with everybody out there. This shall not be a long live stream. Just wanted to talk about some stuff real quick. Don't know how many people will be here tonight, but I hope those checking this out on a replay, I hope y'all like this live stream a lot. Hopefully, you share this with people that you would love to know this information. But that's the key. Only share this with people that will love to know this information. This information is not for everybody. But without any further ado, let's go in, let's talk. So, tomorrow's ideal woman. Now, of course, I'm speaking in the vein of scorch earth. So, I'm not talking like general topics you hear out here in regards to when it comes to the feminine. So, this is simply from like a survivalist, apocalyptic standpoint. So, she has to be geared, wired. Yeah, she has to be geared, she has to be wired, or she has to be prepared a certain way. Geared, wired, and prepared a certain way in those particular times. And so this will kind of explain pretty much sort of the criteria of tomorrow's ideal woman. Okay. Because, there's going to be times where no one ain't got time for someone that's wasting somebody's time. Okay. So me and my co-host, Venom, we've been pretty much going back and forth, not like, arguing or nothing like that, but just pretty much, uh, piggybacking off of each other, different ideas. So I've come up with this idea of the Twilight, and he came up with this idea of the Valkyrie. Okay, and both actually do serve their purpose in tomorrow's times, and these two are the only types of ladies that would be able to be granted a man's trust in certain times. Okay, so in my sense of what the Twilight is basically someone, they talk about the damsel in distress and things like that. um, and of course, you approach the damsel not like a white knight, you approach it like a black knight or like a monk. Let me actually put the link in the chat. My co-host just showed up. So yeah, what's good, Venom? Good to see you up in the building once again, fam. Let me go ahead and put the link down here for you. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, definitely gonna chop it up. I just basically gave them an overview about Twilight and Valkyrie without saying much. I literally just started talking about Twilight, just literally. So I'll wait till you get on and we can go more into detail. But yeah, let me make sure my volume is up too on my other device. Let me make sure of that. Make sure y'all hear me well on all cylinders. Let me get Venom up in the building.
Clear, loud and clear.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay. We discussing the Valkyrie and the Twilight tonight, huh?
Yes, sir.
Sounds good to me. Need to hash on that subject anyway.
Yeah.
Just got refreshed and reminded, what I'm saying, the quality of such. Considering I've
Mm.
got a couple of each that are friends, longtime friends, some since middle school, some since grade school, and some since adulthood. And I tell you, that is that apparent difference in what you see is genuine, weathered some storms, loyal, unwavering loyalty, and it's not even a matter of intimacy. It's more like those that can relate to the duties of a black knight or a monk. And I
Hmm.
won't speak lightly on Black Knight because, that's for somebody that could be active, possibly active, but that's not the priority. Nowhere even in the top 10. But
Right.
monk, of course, and I ain't never claimed to be a celibate monk, even though I have been for nearly 5 years straight. And it's been a nice adventure. Some label it 5 years of freedom. I definitely call it a lot less risk on the finances, but that's neither here nor there. But when it comes to those Valkyries, they tend to be that individual that decides the fate of either a bond, camaraderie, extending, or those that fake it and lack so bad that you know the smell of them even talking, you're going to avoid. And most of the time, you know, you get these chameleons, you get those that want to try and run game, you get the normal deceivers, you got the mentally challenged narcissists. But a Valkyrie, she could have went through a lot of the same things that forced somebody to be a narcissist, but they have a very strong will. They understand that cooperation and interdependence is more important than independence. And they understand that regardless to their strengths, they've still got some vulnerabilities. They may even be able to call out vulnerabilities within a monk or a black knight, but it will be done in respect
Mm.
and it will be done
So,
in camaraderie.
so here's the thing, like, because what I guess we could do is break down. Of course, on my end, I told them just a few minutes ago. I came up with the idea of the Twilight, and then eventually you came along with the idea of the Valkyrie. So, uh, before we break down both of our definitions of each type of woman, my question to you is, what makes a Valkyrie tomorrow's ideal woman?
Well, considering this is the subject matter we discussing on a post-apocalyptic, strictly survival, hypervigilance, mass hysteria, nuclear fallout even. In that situation, you want somebody that knows that, hey, instead of talking about it, flashing about it, they'd be ready to put in that work. You know, really, really closely related to what you would call a first wave feminist. But nowadays, it would be that outlier, not a unicorn. Unicorn's a male horse. Definitely not a stallion, yet another male. So it's more of a
She's a mayor,
mindset.
probably a mayor.
Yeah, and then it's that mindset, you know, that cooperation, somebody that you know them well enough to where even if you don't communicate with words, they can read your body language. They know you well. And you literally don't have to speak, and they can pretty much empathetically, like an empath, kind of read enough from what's not said, what's not done, know where to compensate and kick in. They're the types that don't try to challenge or overpower or compete for authority or worry about labels. They literally show it in action. So, what would be the most valuable thing about them is they're more about showing than telling it, while as the average is more about telling it to their friends as a competition. Well, I can one up you. My man did this, or my husband did this, my baby daddy did this. That Valkyrie, she's not going to brag about a damn thing. If she did it all herself, if it was gifted, she appreciates it, but she remains humble. And she, of course, likes nice things, but not only is she willing to work for those nice things if she wants them, but she will adhere to the plan of that is masculine and that is not only showing that he's available for the role, but actively doing it. Because whether you masculine and you following your role, or you whether you're not feminine and following your role, there's still roles. And those roles are just generalities. That's just to have certain bases covered on a logical means as accurately as possible. When there are things that it doesn't take much strength, it may take more coming, it may take more seduction or trickery or even possible social gifts and credit, you know, to the point to where communication may be more important than physical show of strength. they can negotiate on that level. And in no way, shape, or form is it somebody one-upping or outranking or feeling like it's a power struggle. It's literal cooperation. And the symmetry is so smooth that once you've experienced it with an individual, there ain't no turning back to regular relationships. It's kind of like, okay, you like water, sometimes you like iced water. That first time you sipped some wine and found out what it was about, that kind of changed, your taste buds. You were like, it's to be appreciated. It has an alternate effect. So you definitely know the difference. You'll feel the difference. It's nothing like somebody saying, oh, woe is me, I'm doing bad, or somebody empathetically already coming by and knowing how to nurture, but not doing it in a way to make you feel like you're being pampered or baby, but just like, hey, I know it's necessary. Hey, if you need shoulder lean on, it's there. And simple, subtle things, not trying to be extravagant, not worried about being flamboyant with materialistic things because they appreciate that breath of life they got, the use of their limbs, the fact that they have a comrade nearby that would lay down their life to help defend. And when I said help, that's exactly what I meant, help. Because a Valkyrie's not just looking for you to protect her, she'll protect herself, but in return is reciprocal and will watch your back because, like I say with the word reciprocal, she'll watch your back, scratch your back, and vice versa. And that's a very important thing because in the trying times that are ahead, if you don't have a Valkyrie by your side, that's another bit of your six or something that you ain't gonna have covered. And it would be better to feed a producer than it would a parasite. If somebody's there for only what they can benefit and what they can get from you and what you need to be showing and proving to them, when do they pick up the mantle and put in the work? Because last I checked, if a relationship don't start off mutual, don't continue mutual, it usually doesn't endure for it to be mutual along the post years. So a Valkyrie is the one that'll be willing to put in the work with you. May not be the prettiest, may not be the date that you want, may not have the money or, dress the way you want. But one thing's for sure, that loyalty is unwavering. And with that alone, that makes them valuable. So the other things are just like icing on the cake.
So she was basically like well versed in a lot of things, and you said she won't go back to regular relationships. I guess as you pointed out with the producer, he won't be able to go back to a regular relationship either, because yeah, out there on the front line like that, he what ain't gonna want just a couch potato type. Gail giving off those I won't say Cinderella vibes, but we get it, Princess Cinderella. I don't know. Uh, yeah, it doesn't look like that's what a Valkyrie is about, and she probably, she kind of what pinpoints maybe the type of guy that does he find her or she finds him.
They literally find each other on the battlefield, and in their art of intimacy / warfare and survival, they build a bond. It's not struggle love, and it ain't survival love or even low vibrational reproduction, but more of a matter of, hey, I appreciate that. And even though we ain't on that level or ain't got time for it right now, I can tell that you digging me and I'm digging you. But we're gonna handle this business and we'll get to that. For the young women out there that are wondering, if you've ever had an experience with a Black Knight, whether he was your first or your last or somewhere in between, he's that one that you remember that wasn't telling you everything that you wanted to hear. He wasn't worrying about attention or constantly being out in the limelight. He was to himself. He was to you. And he was always focused on that. And that's what you miss about him. So that Black Knight, if you single, if you in something you don't need to be in, yeah, you need to go ahead and correct that and quit doubting yourself and go ahead and double back to that. Because if you don't, you're going to be kicking your own tail behind it later. And you're going to be wondering why you can't find another one.
And Shout out to the late and the great Kevin Samuels when he brought up about the winter. You know, nothing like a winter without a Black Knight. Man.
The thing is, the Black Knight was the Black Knight before the winter came, but he was more prepared because instead of out there trying to put on public theatrics, he was training, he was prepared. He's waiting for it to be times when the lights ain't on, the water's not running. It's time to eat, but it ain't no McDonald's. There's nothing accessible fast food. The grocery stores are empty. Most of the real food has already been stored up in deep underground military bases. And only certain people got access, and it ain't the average person. Starvation, chaos in the streets. You don't have much time to worry about being romantic in times like that. So you want somebody that can, one, handle business, two, have the integrity, three, have the ability. And when you're talking about work history, you do not want an office worker when it's time for no, you know what I'm saying, melee type stuff. I mean, I understand some may have skills, but we talking about the majority of the rules. The ones that's been dodging bullets, trying to stay employed, trying to stay up out of the system, trying to carve out a piece of education, trying to get the attention of a young lady, but overlooked because he's not with the in crowd. When you talk to somebody, that's how you get to know them.
Yeah.
Anything other than that, you literally just a distraction and wasting their time. You hear it, womp, 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 womp.
See, and I kind of look at even the Mockingjay from the Hunger Games, because we can go into basically it's two women in one. One represents the evolution, one represents the infancy. So that's kind of like, I guess, to roll in, uh, sort of how I would break down the Twilight from the Valkyrie, but and I guess with that said, we can go back into the whole Hunger Games thing for sure, because obviously a Black Knight is outside that cubicle that everybody was in, uh, even the monk. But yeah, I was going to say, I guess, to talk about why I think the Twilight is the ideal woman of tomorrow, or tomorrow's ideal woman. I think just because you brought up obviously about, yeah, the Valkyrie, she's ready to go. You're ready to go with a certain man. Like, she's just ready to go. Like, already packed with all kind of skill set, and she's just ready. And that's good. You know, she's got experiences, trials, maybe some trauma, but she has a good head on her shoulder, you know, not a chip on her shoulder. That's the beauty of her. And, you know, that right there makes her something to behold. The thing about the Twilight is she's coming into that. Like, she's one that's willing to learn. So basically what a lot of these gals should be trying to be right now. Okay. So it's like, yeah, we hear about all these problems with the feminine, but no one's really telling them about how you really need to survive. We're hearing about what hypergamy, all this, but no one's really saying this is how you really need to survive. And I think that's the difference between countries outside the West and the West. Like the gals that live outside the West, they really learn how to survive. Like, they know their femininity could mean life and death depending on how they go about living their life with their femininity. And so a Twilight takes on that information. Like, in her youthfulness, her being of a damsel, because I believe that damsels, they only qualify to be the Twilight. But you might have some spinsters that, hey, they become great Valkyries, you know. But yeah, the Twilight, that's truly the true damsel in distress. Like, her first, like you said, her first love was a Black Knight. Like, that's rare. That's rare. If you think about it, it's rare for a gal to really become a Twilight in these times. So just think about how more rare it's going to be in the future for a Twilight. Like, and families might actually want that. They warrant that. Like, in the midst of all the rubble and the burning embers and things like that, they might have that one sacred daughter that they want to make sure is in the good hands of a good man's hands, or man's hands that are good. You know, like, They might literally look up to this Black Knight like he's a god in some ways. Like it's just some sacred and mystic about him. And and so I'd say there's so much we could break down about this. So that's why I believe, yeah, the Twilight is tomorrow's ideal woman, because it's going to basically, she's going to represent the reverse of the curse that's been put upon a lot of Western civilization. Of course, in the East, they're just going to improve upon what they've been doing for centuries. But over here in the West, it's going to be like a reawakening of such things, of teaching daughters chastity and honoring their own virginity and things like that. So it's going to be a great awakening. Like a lot of times, I think guys go over their head when they think about the way they want a certain woman to be. In these times in the West, this is something that is literally going to have to be recreated.
Well, there's one thing for sure. There's always the outliers, and there's always those that pass down legacy. And you can do that a few ways, definitely genetically. And what I found is not just spinsters, because I did hear you speak on that. Spinsters, Valkyries, those are the old big mamas, you know, like Kung Fu Hustle. None of the gangsters on the block even wanted to mess with her. They didn't want to disturb her sleep, nothing. You know what I'm saying? That
Yeah,
is
like
a Valkyrie.
Griselda.
Yes, that is a Valkyrie. But at the same time, the Valkyrie may have had her days as a Twilight because she was very youthful at one point in time. But like an experience is going to take you somewhere. You can be a
That's true.
young adult and turn to a Valkyrie. You could always be genetically a Valkyrie and always feel off and different, which is what a lot of these youngsters are feeling right now. They're feeling the masculinity and the power thriving in their veins from their ancestors, and they're thinking that has something to do with gender. No, that's your inherent power. Your gender didn't matter. It matters in reality in this dimension, but it's never mattered from where we came. And that's what the confusion is that I feel. But there are Valkyries that are young, that are prodigies. There are Valkyries that are masters that exceed my skill. There are Valkyries that have never picked up a weapon, but have always inherently known how to defend themselves. Doesn't mean that they go around saying they the baddest, they got to have the limelight in the show, but they would definitely speak it to their, or teach it to their offspring, their youth. And this has been going on for thousands of years. Humans have civilized and evolved to a point to where we're starting to regain a lot of our senses that were purposely dumbed down, purposely assaulted with chemical attacks as far as calcifying pineal glands. And when I'm speaking, I'm not just speaking to, say, like boomers or Gen X or millennials or, you know, on down. No, I'm speaking to all generations because this is more in line with energy. We're all frequencies and vibrations and rhythms. So what that boils down to is your triple helix in your DNA. Your melanin is going to store so much memory that a sneeze your father had in youth, you could remember at birth or beyond.
Mm.
And
You
it's a thing.
said you said triple helix, not double helix.
Triple.
Mm.
Double helix is what they converted to the 2D so they can try and understand, dissect, and break it down. Triple helix. And there's more sequence, more ether within melanated beings. 6 to 9 from what studies had shown. The most advanced on this land and on this planet. Now, there's others that believe otherwise and want to say, oh, they're this, they're that, they're just thugs. There's always been labels and spells projected at our community, along with assaults from the government, along with biological and chemical warfare, crimes against humanity. And people are slow to wake up because, one, they're still caught up in that American dream. They're still caught up in the fictions and the marketing that was sold them. All it takes to know reality is to turn everything off, close your eyes, breathe properly, and you're going to start awakening your senses to what really matters. You're going to start paying more attention to your body. You're going to pay more attention to what's out of balance. The thoughts, control those, control the speech. You control the thoughts, and you can inherently affect the actions. But it all starts within, from micro to macro. A twilight understands that inherent because it's in their nature to nurture, and they're not going to bend from that. They can be traumatized like anybody else on this earth, but they're holding true to their principles. Some do it for religious reasons, spiritual reasons, personal reasons, just morals and ethics and values, of which is already rare amongst people these days. So to find it in a twilight, it's going to be abundant and it's going to show energetically to those around. Valkyrie may have that, but they don't waste time with anything frilly. That's that tomboy. That's that one that didn't mind playing football with the boys. Yeah, she cute, but don't take her for no slouch. She's not trying to go out and arm wrestle guys. She's not acting crazy, but she's comfortable, safe, and comrades with. She knows how to keep it real, knows how to, that she'll be judged as her word in them circles. And there's very few of them, so few. Some elderly, some young and disabled, some middle-aged, some out here in the struggle and don't want no attention. They just want to get through their days, endure what they endure. They would love some help, but they don't want to seem thirsty. You best to open your mouth because closed mouths don't get fed. You find you a gentleman, aka monk. You find you a black knight, aka, yeah, he might have had a dark past. He might not have the best character or whatever you want to call it, but you need to know something about him to find out how much of that is his external armor for the public, and whether or not that's a cold lump for heart, or whether or not that sucker's still beating, because he would appreciate somebody touching it and putting something in it that he ain't felt in a long while. Has nothing to do with physical intimacy, but sapiosexual intimacy.
So I think we just probably about next few more minutes, probably gonna break this down real quick. So what is your definition of a Valkyrie?
Valkyrie is a woman that could be an athlete, she could be a scholar. Whatever it is she does well, and she does it with the effectiveness of knowing that even if she ain't the best, or even if she was the best, it's not arrogance, but just the fact that she loves to contribute. She loves to put in some work. She does not want to be the one sitting around being catered to. She literally wants to be reciprocal at best. And other than that, hey, catch her when she's in the mood. She's the type of woman that expresses such loyalty to the point to where, hey, even if you ain't talked in a long while, like that old true and dear friend, we'll check up on you. Hey, how you doing? Haven't heard from you in a while. You okay? You good? Let me know if you need anything. And of course, not asking for anything in return, but literally just generous, willing to give. Not even worried about, oh, well, if I'm down and oh, you owe me. But of course, just like the honor that a black knight would have, oh, if you gave your word you're gonna do this, yeah, be on time, but let me know something. She'd appreciate the same. So a lot of Valkyries, and they span the risk of getting bitter because there's not many black knights out there. Most guys want to be a white knight. They still grew up on that Disney. They still want to be in the limelight. They want to just step on everybody else to be the best. They don't believe in cooperating, surviving, and getting what needs to be done without worrying about any thank you later. Because the people that might be thank you might be missing teeth, might be missing the ability to talk. You know what I'm saying? A black knight's gonna appreciate that. And know somebody appreciated that help. They couldn't even scream out for it. And that monk, damn sure, And he's sitting there meditating. Oh, well, damn, it's a disturbance in the force. Let me stumble over here. Let's go. Oh, really? Well, let me solve this problem. Oh, you ain't got to thank me. I'm gone. You know what I'm saying? Just like that. The Valkyrie is the one that she might have had that traditional upbringing. She might have came up out the gutter. It's not the background that defines them. It's them having that strong will in mind that regardless to what happened, this is who I am, this is how I choose to be, and this is what I put forward. And it ain't an act.
Nice. So that really hits home right there, and we bring this home as well in regards to before I forget, before I break down my definition of a twilight, I was going to say that actually the thumbnail for this live stream is sort of clickbait, and I say that because yeah, trying to get more of the feminine to this channel. Let them see that we speak here from like a futuristic but also apocalyptic perspective. And but yeah, I mean, as you saw, it got a little pink, a little more feminine thumbnail, but it has some flames, has some smoke, and it had a little butterfly. The butterfly is actually the man, trying to lead her to a better place. And she was looking at the butterfly, like, huh, what is that? That curiosity, like, huh, okay. So I think that's part of the Lord of Twilight, but for the Valkyrie, it could be sort of a remembrance of what she once remembered, as far as, I've been missing this type of man. Finally, it's about time. Like, oh, what do you want? Where are we going? I'm ready. Let's go. But so yeah, that's kind of that with the. But I hope still, even with the thumbnail itself, it just still kind of just yeah, kind of gets people to, especially a lot of the ladies to check it out. But I guess with that said, to break down
Let me
Twilight.
give one more shot on the Valkyrie to give
Yeah,
you a good visual. There was, of course, the Valkyries, of course, from Asgard. You've got the Meteorology of Wakanda. You have the Amazons with Wonder Woman. That Xena warrior princess types. It's not about race, it's about warrior queens, meaning they're going to uphold their integrity, their honesty, and loyalty. But at the same time, if they got to put it on you, they can. That's just to give you a visual. That's what a Valkyrie is. They're death before dishonor. They're, about survival. They're about pitching in. There's literally no games. Now, a Twilight might not be as capable physically, but from what I understand from your description and definition, she's literally like the youngster that's training up, and that Valkyrie is like her older sister.
that's facts. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, basically, the Twilight in her purest form is basically uh, a lady of her youth that's taken on a man's light, and it's from a Black Knight. So that butterfly represents that Black Knight, and so yeah, what embodies a Black Knight? His scars, all of that. Right now, her meeting a monk is a little too far off. Not quite there yet. Maybe she might talk to him in her younger years. She looks up to him. But she's young, that more intimate side, that's going to come from someone that's very similar to Monk, but more so borderline in his journey in life. That's the Black Knight. So that's the ideal Twilight. Twilight is only made for Black Knight, not made for White Knight, not made for shape shifting bad boys. A Twilight is a lady of her youth that has taken on a man's light. Simple as that. So what is his light? His knowledge, his intimacy, his thoughts, his love, his assurance. She's taking that is, yes, she is more traditional, but like you said, the Twilight can become a monk, whether she, so it's just like a gal that didn't grow up traditionally, like a Twilight, becomes a Valkyrie. Hold on, let me rephrase that. So yeah, Twilight can become a Valkyrie herself, even though she grew up traditional. But the non-traditional gal, she automatically becomes like the Valkyrie just because she grew up in such a way. So, uh, but yes, that's the beauty, is because ideally, yeah, we want more of the tradition of a lot of young ladies meeting guys that have that real light, that real love, that assurance, that they all long for. And even the girl that hates you, if you that type of gentleman, that type of a Black Knight gentleman, um, actually through her hate, she actually loves you. But the Twilight, she gonna love you right out the gate, or she's definitely gonna start loving you immediately. Uh, so that's that. But with that said, just keeping this live story short, sweet to the point. Me and Venom broke down why are the Twilight and the Valkyrie, why is the Twilight in the Valkyrie tomorrow's ideal woman. We broke down the definitions. And in closing thoughts, what do you think, Venom? Pretty much whatever you have to say about it. What do you think?
So I think, we went pretty well in depth in things, and there's still a few things, of course, that I can hear questions coming in the future from the clouds. There's also the fact that not only are those the most desirable and ideal women, but that's literally what folks need to be concentrating on today. Because the more we have of those in the numbers and families and communities within this nation, just from the jump, you know what I'm saying? That's an impenetrable wall of defense, because the last line of defense is gonna be them survivors, those melee warriors and things, the martial artists, the people that actually, prepared, the preppers. I mean, hey, you got folks that live off in the sticks. Hey, you best to get to know your neighbors. You better get to know the ways that they move so you can understand things that are going on out of order. Because when the power's out and food is scarce, water's scarce, and your every breath, you don't know how long you got for the next. You want somebody near you can trust, not somebody that you investing in that's just taken from you to play games and manipulate and run around. You want somebody that's grounded, somebody that's tried and true, and not tried by your challenges, but you know they've weathered storms. They may be scarred up, they may have injuries, bullet holes, stab wounds, no telling. Or they may just have, a slight deficiency, communication issues. They may have some insecurities to work on. But all in surviving, somebody's going to be putting forth some extra effort to cover the team. And just because a specific gender may have more financially, don't mean you shouldn't respect the position of the other that might be struggling in that area. But in other areas, they put so much ease on your life. You got to learn to appreciate, reciprocate, and keep your word. Those very simple things, even the average man would appreciate. And hey, an average man's better than none. A black knight
Mm,
is damn sure better than a white knight, because the white knight wants to look good doing, the black knight wants to get it done, get home, feed the fam, take care of his woman. And if he got to do it again, or if he got to do it by himself, he gonna stick to that. That monk, oh, he might be the one taking care of some of the youths. He might be taking care of the women, the children, that guard to make sure that their facilities are straight and nothing's going on awry. But at the same time, that monk's ready to put it down as well. And I mean, in a way to where, yeah, anything that's running up, yeah, it will get warded off, because that's all he's prepared and waiting for. But at the same time, even that monk could be a black knight if it's called to, if it's for survival and reproduction and continue the species. So, don't
yeah,
sleep on either.
I was thinking too. Yeah, don't sleep on none of that. I was thinking, and I want to, I guess, sort of a disclaimer to people like, yeah, we're, for those who would think we're fear mongering, we're not. But at the same time, check this out. Like tomorrow actually might not be as dystopian. Here's what I mean. If there was actually a fallout to happen, that would actually bring more people together. So I don't know if a lot of people that would like that. Certain people, they don't want to see people coming together because that would mean tyranny. That would mean let's take down the government. Because people coming together because the power went out. They come together now. So kind of makes you wonder what will apocalypse be defined as in the future? We really don't know. We sort of giving y'all basically a scenario. But then the other thing I was thinking was no matter Twilight or Valkyrie, she needs to know about medical things. That's another story because these witches know their medicines too.
That's for sure. Now, you think real medicine comes from knowledge of the herbs, knowledge of culinary skills? That's your real medicine. Knowing how and when to fast, for how long, that's real medicine. Knowing how to filter your water, that's real medicine. Now, you can go beyond that, with your CNA, LPN, RN, or whatever that kind of stuff goes. But them very basics will be more than appreciated, more than necessary. Men to till fields, plant seeds, regrow the nourishment for civilization, very needed. Men already know that inherently. Hey, one of these days I might not have this posh job. I won't be worried about a manicure because I'll be too busy out busting my knuckles working on something. We already know that kind of stuff could come or will come or is coming. And it's a matter of, yeah, okay, when that happens, this is how I plan on preparing. I'm going to keep my temple as in order as possible. I'm going to keep it as strong as possible. And I'm going to prepare for the worst while praying for the best. That's the mentality of a Black Knight. For a monk, you try not to clear any of them thoughts. You want to make sure that you focus on the present, to be mindful, go with the flow, but flow and crash is necessary.
Mm. With that said, we definitely probably gonna have to do a second take on this in such a time. With the time that we have and that we're given, we are very thankful of it. So we definitely will pray for that, and we're thankful for everyone that is checking this out, um, especially those on the replay. Make sure y'all hit the like button, share this particular live stream. Definitely more like this on the way. And hey, hence the name, Scorch Earth. We just heating up. So look forward to it. But until next time, y'all take care. Stay out the flames. Don't play the game. Move across the chessboard. Don't be trying to play on the chessboard because the game ain't never to your advantage. It ain't never to your advantage. So yeah, we'll catch y'all on the next one. Y'all take it easy out there.